Hi everyone, welcome to Tsubaki Nakashima's investor presentation. This is a presentation for first half 2026 financial results. I am Itaru Matsuyama, CEO of Tsubaki Nakashima.
Hi everyone. I am Yoichi Ueda, CFO of Tsubaki Nakashima.
And this is the English version presentation targeting at non-Japanese speaking investors. We just finished the Japanese version presentation. Contents is the same, English version.
Let me start with the first half of the presentation. I will cover until the cash flow and balance sheet, then pass it to Itaru for the growth segment situation. Let me start with a key message or key takeaway of the first 6 months result or financial result and business operations. We have 5 messages, and first message is actually a reiteration of what we reported in quarter 1. So I will touch briefly and then focus on the rest of the point. First point is about the first half operating profit was supported or buoyed by 1 billion gain from JAP sales of idle land in Georgia plant in US. And second point, this is the most important point about the second quarter. So excluding restructuring cost, quarter 2 operating profit would have reached the high single digit 100 million yen range. Let me explain a little bit in detail what does this means. Quarter 2 operating profit was about 0.2 billion JPY, which looks quite low. However, on the same quarter 2, we incurred restructuring cost, as you see in the footnote, about Arwin closure and organizational restructuring cost, which amount to 0.7 billion yen. So excluding this 0.7 billion, the quarter 2 operating profit would have been 0.9 billion yen, which is really close to 1 billion yen range. This is a significant improvement versus quarter 1 operating profit. Next point is about the business environment. The business environment in Europe remains challenging due to multiple reasons, including the slow demand in ICE vehicle, but also the competition in multiple layer of the bearing industry and ball market. On the other hand, ceramic business showed a steady growth. This is helped by industrial demand as well as the demand in EV in non-China EV market. On the fourth point, this is about the Iran situation. In the first quarter, we said that we are estimating the impact. And right now, we are seeing some impact in the logistics cost about this cost increase. And for the rest of the year, we continue to monitor the situation to see how much cost it will be incremental and how we can pass it to customer part of that. The point from above here, from first to fourth, is basically in line with what we planned and forecasted. With that, as we see in the point 5, we remain committed to deliver the full year 2026 forecast or guidance that we provided in the beginning of this year. Let me move to the next slide. This slide is showing the first half 6 months result and full year forecast. Please look at the middle, the actual of the 2026 first half. Revenue was 36.86, which shows some increase in the nominal basis. However, as you see in the message, if we exclude the FX impact, the currency impact, the revenue decreased by 6.4% versus last year 6 months. Operating profit was 1.32 billion, supported by the land sales that we had mentioned for the quarter 1. Between operating profit and PBT, or profit before tax, we have about 1 billion of cost, which consists of 2 components, 0.8 about the interest and 0.2 is about the currency loss. And net profit, we had about 0.4 billion of tax expense to get to PBT to net impact, net profit. On the very right hand side, we show the full year forecast or guidance. As you see, both the revenue and operating profit is basically exceeding the 50% progress with the full year. And we are keeping the guidance that we will be delivering toward the year end. Moving to the quarter 2 result, which is from the April to June. Please look at the actual on the right-hand side. So the revenue was 19.08 billion, while operating profit is 0.19 billion. In terms of operating profit, as I mentioned earlier, if we exclude the restructuring cost, the operating profit is about 0.9 billion. While quarter 1, 1.13 billion, this is buoyed by land sales, and excluding land sales, quarter 1 is about 0.1 billion, which means we have a steady improvement from quarter 1 to quarter 2 on an operational basis. So quarter 2 result is both, showing result growth in both revenue and operating profit. This is a slide of the 6 months revenue by segment and comparing with last year 6 months. As you see in the key message, the revenue actually was down by 6.5% for the precision segment. And if you look at the very right column, changes excluding the FX impact, we are seeing a steady increase in Japan and Asia. And this is buoyed by ceramic business in Japan and ceramic business in Thailand, which is impacting Asia. And Asia is also favorably impacted by India growth as well. Europe is still showing the big decline, the double-digit decline, which, as mentioned earlier, because of the competition. This slide shows the 3 months comparison, and we are showing the quarter 2 this year and quarter 1 this year and quarter 2 last year. If we compare quarter 1 this year and quarter 2, the currency assumption is very similar. So in that sense, that if we compare quarter 2 and quarter 1, we are showing some recovery or rebound for majority of the region. As you see, except for Europe, both Japan, North America, China, Asia is showing a solid growth versus quarter 1. This slide shows the operating profit changes from last year to this year. Last year, we delivered 0.79 billion operating profit, and this year we delivered 1.32, and we are showing the bridge between last year to this year. As you see in the key message, our cost reduction measure by value creation, including procurement optimization and productivity improvement, is performing on plan or above plan. So this 1.06 billion cost saving is totally offsetting the cost increase, mainly driven by personal expense, as you see in the market condition and other factors. And as you see in the second message, excluding the one-time land sales, operating profit was about 0.28 billion yen. Yet, is this a true performance? As I mentioned that we had a significant structural reform cost, one-time cost, as you see in the middle for the quarter 2, which is Arwin plant closure and organizational restructuring. So if we add back this 0.5 billion and 0.2 billion, the true operating profit is about 1.0 billion, which is in line or a little bit higher than last year. So I think it's important to see what is the true performance if we exclude both land sales and structural reform costs. Operating profit is about 1.0 billion for the first half of this year. Shifting from P&L, let me talk about balance sheet and cash flow item. Starting from the very left-hand side, inventories. Although we have a lot of headwind from the currency or weakening yen, we are steadily reducing inventory versus last year. So excluding currency, we are overachieving plan, and yet including currency, we are showing reduction from last year on the value basis. Second column, cash conversion cycle. Inventory, as I mentioned, we are reducing the days of inventory by 5 days. However, we had an increase in account receivable turnover period from 95 to 106. This is impacted by two factors. One is about the customer mix, and the other is about the big sales in quarter 2, especially in June. With that, we think in quarter 3 and the rest of the year, this big AR, part of that will be recovered in the year end. So we think this is a kind of temporary situation of the account receivable worsening. On capital expenditure, as you see the comparison versus last year, this year CapEx progress is higher than last year. And as we will explain later, we have an expansion of India second factory, as well as other costs for the structural reform and footprint optimization. So we continue to review the CapEx to be within this year target, which is 4.5 billion yen. On free cash flow, the year-to-date free cash flow is 0.07 billion positive, but this is significantly impacted by account receivable turnover worsening, which is somewhat temporary. So we expect that this is impacted by the AR, which is temporary, to be resolved, some of that in second half of this year. This is my last slide about trending cash flow and operating income. As I mentioned, the majority of the impact in first half is impacted by account receivable, which is temporary. With that, I will pass it to Itaru to start with the growth segment situation. Itaru, over to you.
This is expansion of the status of the growth segments. So I share the new midterm business plan a year and a half ago. And one of the pillars, the value creation drivers, was the growth. And it had the 4 growth segments stated here: India, aerospace and defense, ceramic, and engineered plastic components, which is mainly in healthcare. So as a current status so far in this year, as a first half, it's been going well in total. It's on track. The ceramic and plastic are performing well. It's slightly over-delivering the target of the first half. India is also showing a steady growth, almost in line and hitting the target as a first half. Now, aerospace and defense is showing, unfortunately, a bit of a delay, slowdown, which I will explain a little bit later. So the first, India on the left-hand side, as you can see, now it's making a good progress so far. Now, we expect the stronger demand in the second half, so it's in line. So the strategic intention is the same. We will expand the share, penetrate the new customers, and increase our revenue. So we are getting new businesses from some of the existing customers, including the India plants of the Japanese and European bearing manufacturers. So it's going solid. Aerospace and defense is, transparently, this is delayed at this point. So there are a few reasons behind that. First, it's the qualification process by the customers and customers. When we developed a new growth strategy of the aerospace and defense 2 years ago, honestly, there was some overestimation about the speed of the qualification that is now taking a little bit longer than we initially expected. And the second factor, this is part of the sales is based on certain specific products which uses high temperature special alloy products. And there is so this is not a Tsubaki Nakashima only problem, but also the industry-wide issue. But there is a supply constraint about that material, the alloy material, and that is dragging the timing of the growth. And the third reason is the operation side. So we've been working on the launching of the new products in Georgia plant. This is a newer products. There are some new sizes of the bolts, some of the new processes. So naturally, there is certain learning period of the learning process that's happening in the Georgia plant. So that is taking a little bit longer than we initially planned for this year's revenue. Because of that, now the revenue is a little bit delayed. So we initially set a little bit higher revenue in the second half as a recovery. They will have a highest revenue in the second half, but still it's not necessarily hitting the annual target at this point. Ceramic bowl is slightly over delivering. It's making a good progress. And engineered plastic components, EPC, is also making a good progress. This is mainly healthcare. And this time I wanted to expand a little bit about the India, about these 4 growth drivers. I wanted to give some a granularity or specificity so that investors can understand a little bit more about what's going on at the front line as a market, as a actions, as the facility situation. Now, there are 4 factors I put here. First thing is the new sales office in Pune. So we started, it's a small office, but the sales office in Pune city, a bit of a background is that we have 2 plants in India, but that's Silvassa and Bilad. Those are located in the north side of Mumbai. That is like a 4 or 5 drive from Mumbai. So there are not many customers in proximity. And also the recruiting is tough for the business jobs, especially for the salespeople. So we decided to launch a new office. It's a small one in Pune, and we enhanced the sales team based on it. So there are new sales team there, and they spend more time visiting customers directly face-to-face in Pune area, and also leveraging the close distance to the airport in Mumbai to fly to all the places in India. So that's making a big difference in terms of the customer-facing activities and the relationship. The second factor on the top right is the factory expansion in TSI, the India plant number 2. So this is within the same land, but we expanded the buildings. We are expanding the building in the same land. By that will increase the capacity of the India plant number 2. So this is to prepare for the expected increasing demand in the domestic market in India, and also partially for taking the transfer of some of the volumes from Arwin, which we just announced to close. And the third factor on the left bottom is getting the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standard license for our facility and imported products in India. So this is a BIS license, is a India government certificate. And the big direction of the Indian government at this point is kind of focusing the source of the material to India domestic supply as much as possible. And this is the certificate to enhance that. So at this point, this is not the requirement, but it is set to be the requirement in the future. And now the bearing industry, all the players are working on it. And now our India plant is one of the first ball suppliers who got this certificate earlier this year. And that is appreciated by our customers, just adjusting and making a move quick enough to secure the future supply for the customers. And the last item on the bottom right is receiving the supplier award from our key customers in India, both from Japanese customers and European customers in the bearing layer. So it includes as a total supplier award and also some of the topic-specific awards, including quality. So we have been working on improving the operations, and that is recognized and acknowledged by some of the key customers in India. So this is in line with our big direction of really enhancing our position and the brand recognition and the trust from our customers in India. And this is a breakdown of the ceramic revenue in each quarter. As you can see, last quarter, the revenue is slightly back. It's recovered based on some of the segments. As you can see, the breakdown of the segments by colors, there is some recovery of the EV ceramic bowl revenue. So this is, I mentioned this in the past few presentations, but China EV is tough. The competition is tough. It requires a lower price and cost competition. Now, this revenue is coming from mainly Japanese and European OEMs EV demand. So there is some cyclicality depending on the timing of the new model. It could go up, it could go down sometimes. Now, because our customers got the new business and they awarded the ball to us, we got some revenue increase in the EV side. And also, as you can see, other segments, including machine tool, including the spindles for the drills, for the precision, accurate manufacturing and drilling, and also some of the general industrial applications, and also the semiconductor manufacturing application has some of the solid recovery of the growth. But to be transparent, this has some cyclicality of the industry. So it could go up, it could go down. So it's not necessarily it's given stable forever. There is some short-term bump and increase, but based on that, now the revenue is increasing or recovering a little bit. And this time I wanted to touch on this topic, that is mid to long-term growth potential. So some of the investors, the conversation have been about the longer-term future growth opportunities, including the new applications and new segments, new devices. That includes robotics and also AI. So I wanted to mention this point. So Tsubaki Nakashima, as especially the precision bearing bolt supplier, who has an edge in the quality and also the smaller size bolts, this is a good position which we want to continue to enhance to capture the growth in these segments. So I put some of the examples. First one is the vacuum pump for the semiconductor. The semiconductor manufacturing process. There are the vacuum environment process, including vapor deposition, some plasma-related processes, which requires the vacuum environment and the pumps to make that. And our bolts has been used in that vacuum pumps. So that requires a higher precision. And also in the vacuum environment, many of the bearings cannot use the grease, which requires a ceramic bolt. So, and it requires a high precision. So this is our sweet spot. So we have a good share, solid good share in this market, and we want to continue to grow in this market. This is not a huge market. It would be few to several billion Japanese yen as a market size, but it's still growing at a high pace, at the high single-digit CAGR. So we will continue to take a good share, source the good profit from this segment. And the second driver is a humanoid. Now it's trending, a lot of conversation in the market. Obviously, the humanoids, the robots will use a lot of the joints and moving parts, and that will require all the precision bearings, especially for the smaller sizes, which we have more competitiveness. So again, this is still a new, relatively embryonic applications. Market size for the bearing bolts is not huge at this point, but this has a very high growth potential in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So we will continue to work closely with the customers and position ourselves to be used, those small high precision bolts in the bearings for the humanoid robots. The last item on the right-hand side is the data center fans. Again, for the AI demands, now in the media, there are a lot of the conversation about the data center demand growing rapidly. And our balls has been used in the cooling fans of the data center for the servers or some of the networking equipment. So this is another important growth segment. Again, that requires the precision bolts, typically the smaller sizes, for the quietness and also the less vibration. So that is another sweet spot for us. So we will continue to work on it, keep the share, capture the growth in this segment. Again, at this point, the market size is not too huge, probably around 1 billion Japanese yen as a market size of the balls, but the growth is high. Again, the high single-digit CAGR. So grow based on this wave is the current strategy. Now, let me hit the status, the progress on the midterm plan, 5-year business plan. The same chart as I mentioned every IR presentation. So this is the original slide of the midterm presentation. There were 3 strategic directions in the middle: focus on the cost optimization, cost reduction, and redefine the business portfolio for the growth and pricing. And on the right-hand side, cash flow improvement generate the cash by optimizing the working capital. And there are 6 growth value creation drivers based on that. And the first year, the focus has been so-called low-hanging fruits, especially such as procurement cost reduction, and also the pricing. Make sure we do the right value pricing depending on the segments, focusing on the differentiated segments, and also generating and squeezing out the cash as much as possible by the working capital optimization, especially inventory. Now, this year, continuing that trajectory and also gradually shifting the focus into the next important drivers, especially the driver number 1, global manufacturing footprint optimization. As we announced the closure of the Arwin plant, we have been working on all the planning and detailing, and we will also, when we decide some specific decisions, then we will make an announcement timely. And also the focus on the growth segments, now all the preparation groundworks, and also gradually start to deliver the actual number and grow the revenue is becoming a more important focus this year. And also at the bottom, there are some enablers and foundation drivers, optimizing, establishing, redefining the organization, process, system, culture, including the PVMV, the purpose, vision, mission, value, and optimize all these foundation to enable the value creation. So it's been 2 years since I joined the company. We've been working on this foundation and enablers in the past year and a half. There were a lot of the visible improvement, tangible changes and improvement in the company to position us to continue to deliver the value creation drivers. And as a performance, as a number versus the target, this is the same design of the slide to update the progress. So putting all the 6 value creation drivers on the left-hand side and showing the progress versus the target of this year, which is the accumulation on top of last year's numbers. Global manufacturing footprint optimization. This is supposed to deliver relatively a big number. Now we announced the Arwin closure. Again, because of all the situation and confidentiality and sensitivity with the customers and employees, we cannot disclose everything at this point, but we have been continuously working on the plans and next steps. Once we make a decision, we will gradually, step by step, we will make an announcement timely. Then the first item is the cost reduction by the procurement optimization, largely mainly by the steel cost optimization, by integrating, consolidating the supplier base towards the cost competitive, lower cost suppliers, mainly in the lower cost countries. Now we are expanding the target to the other materials, supplies, consumables, and so far we are making a good progress. So far it's over delivering this year's target. And productivity improvement, reduce the manufacturing cost in the production by operations improvement, automation, digitalization, simplification, leveraging a good practice, best practice among the plants. So this is making a solid progress as well. The big driver including steel waste reduction, making the yield higher, sharing the best practice among the plants, and also reducing the overhead cost, meaning the electricity and some of the supply costs, and also improving the productivity and reducing the manufacturing costs in general. So that is making a solid progress so far. And the next driver, the fourth driver, is the pricing. So again, working on selected segments and products where we can continue to do the value pricing. So it's making a good progress so far. And the sixth driver, the focus on the growth segments, 4 of them, as I mentioned in the previous slide. And last item is a working capital reduction optimization through inventory, AP, AR. As Yoichi mentioned, it's a second half. There are some increase factor because of revenue in the AR, but as a total year, we are on track and we are making good solid progress so far. And last item is a sustainability. The message continues to be the same. We continue to work on the productivity and also the carbon footprint reduction initiatives, and making a solid progress so far, having a good reduction impact versus last year and on track versus the target so far. And that's all for the presentation and for the first half 2026 financial results presentation. Thank you very much.